Hey YouTube, I'm Ali, welcome to the channel and welcome to my review of Stranger Things the card game, Eggo. That's not a bunch of words I thought I'd say together. If I were to describe Eggo the card game in a few sentences, then I would say that really Eggo is the game Uno with a theme of Stranger Things applied to it. Just like in Uno, you will start off the game with a number of cards in your hand. Each round you'll have the opportunity of placing one of those cards from your hand down onto a discard pile. You can place that card if the card you have in your hand or one of the cards in your hand matches either the color of the card on the discard pile or the picture, which in this case is a picture of the actors from Stranger Things, the TV series. Now, Stranger Things, in case you don't know, and my God, why don't you know, where have you been for crying out loud, is a Netflix TV show set with a slightly horror stroke Goonies kind of vibe to it, and it has in it a world, a secondary world, a secondary dimension in fact, called the Upside Down. Now, why do I mention that? I mention it because that's the other aspect of this game. That's what changes it from just a straightforward game of Uno to an Uno Plus. As well as getting rid of all the cards in your hand by placing them into the discard pile, you will also have to escape the Upside Down. I'm going to say that Eggo is a family game, even though the box says the age limit for this, or the age rating, should be 14 plus. I think that rating is there because of the age limit are set by the theme, which is Stranger Things. I think the Stranger Things TV program has a higher rating to watch it, and that's transferred over to the game. In reality, this is a game of Uno, as I've said again and again now. If your kid is old enough to play Uno, then he is old enough to play this game. Now, the decision on you then is whether or not you think the theme is suitable. But disregarding that, if you're comfy with the theme, a kid of 6 plus could play this game with no problems at all. In terms of number of players, the box says 2 to 6. We've played it with 4 players. I think it's probably going to be very similar with 6 people. And as I always say, go with more players if you can, because I think that generally makes for more fun. How long did the game take? It took us about 20 minutes, I reckon, to play a game. It was pretty... Yeah, 20 minutes I think is a good setting for 4 people. It's pretty likely to be similar for 6, so go with 20 minutes. This is very much a card game. I haven't done a card game for ages. This is a card game. And you know what I like about this, just like with many card games, it's absolutely something you can take with you and play when you're traveling. You don't need a huge amount of space to play the game, so I think it's a great game for traveling. In terms of rules and complexity, rules were pretty simple. It took us only a few minutes to read. It took us next to 30 seconds to explain to a new guy how to play the game. Very simple rules. In terms of complexity and depth of play, yep, zilch, this is pretty straightforward. It's Uno for crying out loud. Again, very light on complexity. In terms of interactions, I'm going to say that this is indirect conflict. No, I'm not. I'm going to take that back. I'm going to say it's direct conflict. You are absolutely stopping the next player by putting down cards that could potentially inhibit their progress. So I'm going to call it direct competition. There we go. In terms of single player and team, this is very much a single player game. It's all of you against each other. Actually, that's not really true. The way the game plays out, it doesn't end when the first person gets out of the Upside Down. It ends when the last person gets outside before the Demogorgon shows up. Oh, I forgot to mention that. Hidden in the deck are 4 cards which represent the Demogorgon. If all 4 cards are shown, then the game ends, and you want to get out of there before that happens. There, I mentioned it now. For mechanics, I'm going to start with card drafting. The draw pile is actually split into 2, as I shall show you in just a minute, and bizarrely placed in a toaster, but we'll come on to that in a sec. And then you're going to draw from that. So there's a bit of card drafting there. Once you've drafted those cards, you're going to put them into your hand, and there's a bit of hand management to just organize your hand and get rid of the cards that you need to. What's left then is the pattern matching aspect of the game, which is that you're going to match cards in your hand with those on the discard card pile in order to get rid of them. So those are my 3 mechanics. Yeah, short and sweet. So once again, this, without the sheen, this is the box that the Stranger Things card game comes in. Now you may think this is way oversized for a card game box, and you would be right in that, except that the box, or the internal components of the box, play a vital part in the game. I say vital, it's not that vital, but it's a nice part, and I shall show you in just a sec. It's quite a large box, quite sturdy. It opens thusly. There we go. See, top comes off, and in there you have the following. Now, immediately you can see that you have this silver folded cardboard thing, and if it's not obvious to you, I shall explain what this is now. It's a toaster. Of course it's a toaster, because sitting in the toaster are piles of cards, or in this case, Eggos, waffles. There we go. And in fact, this toaster forms your 2 draw piles, so you actually draw cards from either end or either side of the toaster. Do we need the toaster to play the game? No, not really, but does it make it more fun? No, not really. It's just a toaster, for crying out loud. Now, what else do you get in the box? You get a rule book. Well, I say rule book, it's actually a rule page. It's a single page of rules. Very basic rules in here. If you've not played Uno, then I don't think these are very good rules, because they don't answer a lot of the questions you may have. For example, in normal Uno, at least the way we play it, if someone plays a reverse direction card, the next player can play another reverse direction card and reverse the reverse of the direction. That's a tongue twister. The rules don't mention any of that here, so is that saying that you can't do that, or is it saying that you can do that but it's not specifically called out? Rules aren't super clear in here, but honestly, most people know how to play Uno. If you don't, you can look it up on the web. It's pretty basic. It's not too hard at all. Going to the actual inside of the box, the actual toaster, the thing holding the cards, yeah, it's corrugated cardboard. It's quite sturdy. I'm sure it will last for a long time. Looking at the other component what you get in here, the actual cards though, that's a different story. Firstly, they're round cards. Now I know that they're round because they want to follow the theme of Eggos and waffles that come in a circular form, but honestly, round cards are a bugger to shuffle and to play with, I think. Worse than that though, these cards are paper thin. Very easy and susceptible to be folded or to be crunched up. Not great quality on the cards at all. The actual pictures on them, yeah, they seem fairly basic. They seem okay. Here's Dustin looking green. There we go. I'll put him back down. I mentioned status cards, didn't I? I mentioned that people will be in... Oh, here are the Demogorgons. I mentioned the Demogorgons. There's a Demogorgon card. And then there's some status. Here is 11. With a box of Eggos, a number of boxes of Eggos, there she is, upside down, in the normal world. And on the other side of that status, there she is, all looking upset in the upside down. I've just realised she's actually upside down as well. That's clever. Didn't notice that before. I like the way that the game has trolled you, though. If you know anything about Stranger Things, you know that Barb, one of the characters, actually gets trapped in the upside down, and you have an opportunity of playing Barb. This is Barb's status card. Here she is, trapped in the upside down. And on the other side, here she is, trapped on the upside down. Yeah, troll card. You can't actually play Barb, but that was quite fun. Anyway, the actual picture on the card's perfect. The actual quality of the card's pretty poor. Size of the box, way bigger than it needs to be. Do I need the toaster? No, but there you go. There's the box. Sorry, I seem to be catching shadows. The thing about Uno is that it's easily skinnable, I think, and that's all that's happened here. They've taken a game that already exists, and Kellogg's, who own Eggos, I think, that's what it says on the box, I keep looking down towards it, and whoever the licensees were, Hasbro, there we go, have taken an opportunity to take a well-known game and stick this theme on it. Are the two well intertwined? No, not really, I don't think they are. I like the idea of the little twist. I like the status showing that you're in or out, and that does add an element. So if you're bored of playing normal Uno, this is quite nice because of it. But do the theme and the mechanics knit well together? Yeah, they're okay. It knits just as well as I would expect it with any other game that could be themed with Uno. Did I make meaningful decisions as I played? Nope, none whatsoever. You literally look at your hand, see what you can match, and then play that card. There are very few occasions where you'll have multiple choices to make, so you might have 2 cards that match what's on the discard pile. Does it matter which one you play? Not really. No meaningful decisions have I made. Multiple pathways to victory. Are there multiple ways to win this game? No, there aren't. You just need to get rid of your hands. There's no strategy in that, really. I mean, play the cards in the right order to maximize what you can get rid of, I suppose, but that's about it. Are luck and skill balanced? There's an awful lot of luck in this game. I think it depends what you get to draw. A seasoned player versus a new player, you're on equal footing. There's no benefit in being a seasoned player. There's no extra sort of skill given by playing this game over and over again. So I'm going to say that skill and luck aren't very well balanced in that way. It's very much a skill-based game rather than a luck-based game. Was I engaged in the game? Yes-ish. There isn't a lot of urgency. There isn't a sense of wanting to because you don't have the opportunity to plan anything. There's no tactics as such. The amount of engagement you have is pretty minimal. You're engaged because you're playing a game. But outside of that, you're doing very little thinking. You're not doing much in the way of planning. So engagement isn't great in this game. Finally, when it comes to the look and feel and the iconography and the legibility of text, I mean, it was all okay. The pictures are pretty straightforward. I do think the color choices were weird. You would normally expect something quite bold like reds and blues and maybe a strong green. They had very odd sort of colours. The colours were muted, so you had the purple, for example, as one of the colours, and the green. The green and the blue looked very similar in my eyes, at least. So yeah, I don't think they were great on iconography either, I'm afraid. In terms of marking them out of 5 for all 5 of them, then not great, if I'm honest. Not the hallmarks of a great game for me, at least. So my overall thoughts on this game, I mean, this is a perfectly reasonable game. It's Uno, for crying out loud. Uno, if you get bored with it, this is the game to play, basically. It's playable with anyone that's played Uno before and just takes them a little step beyond what Uno can offer. It's a great traveling game, I think. I do think it's a good game to take with you. You can just take the cards. You don't need the toaster box at all, and you can still play the game quite comfortably, which I think is great. Round cards, bit of a disappointment. Thin cards, bit of a disappointment. But apart from that, I think the game is pretty good fun. Has it got large amounts of replayability? No, probably not. You're going to bring it out once in a blue moon, and you're only going to play 1 or 2 games before you want to move on to something more meaningful with your lives, I'm sure. Anyway, that all said and done, that's my review. This could be the game for you, and if it is, brilliant. I'm glad I've raised awareness for you on it. Those are words that aren't in the right order. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed the review. If you have, give me a thumbs up. If you particularly like this set of reviews, then consider subscribing. Maybe reviews aren't your thing. Maybe you want to know a little bit more about game design, which is the other thing I'm busily involving myself in at the moment. Or maybe even painting miniatures, which is something else I really want to get back into. If you do enjoy any of that stuff, then consider subscribing to the channel. Every subscription helps me at the moment, so I'd really appreciate it. But for now, until next time, guys, take care.